Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Heart Healthy Hustle podcast show. I'm your host, Jonathan, and I am glad you're here. On this show, I talk with industry-leading experts about connecting with others, impacting your niche, and striving to live the best life possible. It's all about sparking meaningful conversations around business ownership and entrepreneurship. The Heart Healthy Hustle show is about finding connection with proactive peers and navigating a healthy work life with full autonomy. So whether you're driving to or from work right now, exercising, eating, or just relaxing, come hang out and get ready to enjoy another inspiring episode of the Heart Healthy Hustle show. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Heart Healthy Hustle show. I'm your host, Jonathan, and we are here today with a YouTube creator, tech enthusiast, drone expert, Billy Kyle, coming to you live. Well, not live, but this interview is live right now. Billy is currently in Philadelphia. He is studying in university. He has a YouTube channel, self-titled Billy Kyle. So this interview is going to include information on personal branding, developing a YouTube channel. If you're into tech, you're going to get a lot out of this, guys. So stick around and enjoy this episode. Billy, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So one thing I want to get right into, you're coming to me from university right now. And what was it you told me before the start of the interview? You actually said you kicked everybody out. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I've actually got 4 people in my dorm, including myself. So I've got 3 roommates. I kicked them out. My girlfriend was over. I had to kick her out as well. And now they're all doing their own thing, so I can have some peace and quiet finally.
Go ahead and fill in any gaps from that intro and let the listeners know what you're into.
Yes, I'm at university right now. That's kind of my main priority. My degree, I'm a communications major. I had to set my major as computer science. It became a little bit tough for me. It's kind of like learning a whole brand new language. I'm not sure if you ever took computer science classes. So I switched over to communications. It's sort of in that field. And I guess just my passion is not only photography and videography, but also tech. And I try to include all of that into my YouTube channel, as you mentioned, of course. And even though I'm really focusing on the drone spectrum right now, I just really would like to break through to all technology, as again, I love working with computers and I love working with, of course, drones.
Absolutely. So one thing I really admire about your channel, I don't think I've told the listeners this yet, but I own an LLC surrounding a drone business here in North Carolina. Okay. And I'm licensed. I have, a Phantom 4 Pro. I'm into it. Not doing any enterprise, anything like that. But I can say from my point of view, I still have a lot to learn, and going to your videos immensely helped me. So if you guys at all into photography, freelancing, videography, drones, or tech, make sure you're checking out Billy on YouTube. You're very succinct. That's what I really admire about your channel. You're very communicative, but then you also are just like, you're hustling. So for sure. So do you have any favorite success quote or saying you live by? Go ahead and share that with the audience and what it means to you.
All about what you do when people aren't watching. So there's a lot of late nights that go into, creating videos. It's even like when I'm playing sports, playing lacrosse, I play club lacrosse here at St. Joe's, and while club lacrosse really isn't, as big as the D1 program they have here, it's that work that you're putting in while no one's looking, that really pays off in the end.
We were talking before the show a bit here, and you mentioned that the behind the scenes with the YouTube. So for anyone listening who does have a YouTube channel, when did you know you liked tech, and what brought you into that? Was there any big moment? Was it just the first time you laid eyes on a Phantom 4 drone? Like what happened there?
So I think the first time I really got involved into technology was when my mom bought me my first laptop in 6th grade. It was a refurbished MacBook Pro. And I wish I could say that I still had that MacBook Pro today, because that really took off my love for tech. I learned how to do everything with that computer. I edited some of my first videos and, recorded some of my first, video gameplays that I did. That was like my first YouTube, I guess, endeavor. From there, saved up some money. That was in 6th grade, as I said. But then I kind of moved on from there into more camera equipment. And finally, I think it was 2 summers ago, I was saving up money to build my own computer. I wanted to kind of jump into the PC spectrum of things, but I fell just short of saving up enough money from a restaurant that I worked at. And I saw that the Phantom 4 was on sale, and I was like, man, I've seen these all over the place. They look cool. It took 2 months to finally get a drone. And from there, honestly, it's basically changed my life.
Yeah. As maybe like unbelievable as that may sound, that absolutely makes perfect sense in today's day and age. And that's part of the reason I have you on the show, is because I'd love for you to expand upon that, sharing how that has excited and changed your life. The trajectory, because, you're doing a lot right now. You're clearly super disciplined. You're studying. And for anyone listening who's, how the heck does he do all that and have a girlfriend, have friends, and you have, you're working on this, it's all kind of a full-time job if you let it, YouTube alone. So how do you get, how do you do that for anyone wondering.
So I go to school in Philadelphia, and I kind of have a studio.
Shout out to Philly.
House where I've got lights.
Shout out to Philly.
All set up. Yep, Philly.
Eagles about to take the Super Bowl. It's currently February, so January. So the Super Bowl's coming up in a couple of days. So
yeah, and you know what? It's the first time. I think it's the third time the Eagles have been in the Super Bowl. They've never won one, so I think that this is it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
They want the W, but anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off. But shout out to Philly.
No.
Shout out to Philly.
Yep. So let's see. I've got a studio back in my mom's house. It's a lot of driving back and forth, but I think that the main thing that kind of keeps me on track is the planning. I've got a lot of Excel spreadsheets of video ideas, goals and deadlines to meet for these videos, and a lot of just like making sure I get like maybe if I need a script, get the script done. You know, while I'm here at school, I'll type it up so that I can go to my mom's house. I can shoot my video as fast and also have a lot of other time to go out with friends or the main thing right now, which is studying.
For sure. So you prioritize and you actually have a very thorough method of planning as well. For me, like if I heard you say that and back when I was in college, I'd probably understand the necessity of having goals and having an Excel spreadsheet, but would I actually do it? So
yeah.
What would you tell somebody who is currently in your situation and may not know, like you see your YouTube's taking off, it's gaining a lot of traction. You got a lot of subscribers, a lot of views. You're helping a lot of people. I think that's why. But what is it that keeps you prioritizing school? I admire the fact that you're keeping your priorities straight even through the early successes you're seeing. So go ahead into that if you would.
So a big thing that's really keeping me here at school is my mom and dad. I know they'd love to see me go through, graduate, get a degree. And I also myself would love to get a degree from school. And this question is something that I think about every single day, where if I were to drop out of school, could I then focus more on my YouTube channel and see more success from the YouTube channel? But you know, as much as I do see the benefits from being a full-time, I guess you could call it a YouTuber, that's what people are calling people who do YouTube now as YouTubers, it's not going to be forever. There's always going to be something that's next. And whether I can jump from YouTube and just kind of shift my content over to another platform, again, YouTube will never be there. And having this degree to fall back on, as well as all this experience through YouTube, I think that that's really going to be what gets me places in the future.
Great. Going into drones a bit, shifting gears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You started, what was your first one?
The Phantom 4. So I guess neglecting to mention all the little toy RC helicopters that I flew when I was younger, the first big major drone I had was the Phantom 4 made by DJI.
So much fun. Going into your favorite drone now, you've touched them all. The prosumer ones, you got the Mavic, the Mavic Pro, then you got the Mavic Air that's just come out. Let's say this person's a wedding or a photographer. They're like, yeah, I just want to get a drone. I don't want to spend over $1,000. Just want to be able to whip it out and shoot some nice 4K when I need it. What drone would you point him to, Billy?
Yeah. You know, I think that right now I haven't really taken a look at the updated prices, but I think you cannot go wrong with the original Phantom 4. I think it's going to run you around that $1,000 price tag. It might be just a little bit more, but I know that if you're out there and if you're looking on places like eBay or maybe even Craigslist, you can easily get this thing for around $700 to $800. It's got a 12 megapixel camera, I believe. It's got a 4K camera up to 30 frames per second. And as I said, that's the drone I started on, and I know that it takes some great pictures and some great videos, especially with that stabilized gimbal. You know, if you want to step up to the Phantom 4 Pro, I know you said you have the Phantom 4 Pro, you are going to get the 4K 60 FPS video recording and that 20 megapixel camera. But again, if you're kind of looking to get into aerial photography, I think that original Phantom 4, the base model, is going to be just perfect.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's transition now into talking more about your hustle. You're in college, so you're still relatively young. When did it hit you though? When did you make the decision to pursue YouTube and school simultaneously? What was it that caused you to go into full bandwidth?
So it was actually around the time that I got my first drone. My YouTube channel at first was geared around video games, and it was just things that I would record as I played with my friends. Any funny moments, they would go up, and they would only get, you know, between 20 to 25 views. And then I uploaded my first video with my Phantom 4, which was the beginning of freshman year of college. Right now I'm a sophomore, so that was, again, probably about a year and a half ago. And that was during the first week of college. I uploaded that video. I shared it around a little bit to family and friends, but that got up to around 350 views. It was like the first video of mine that had crossed the 100 view threshold. And from there, I thought that with this powerful drone, with skills I could possibly develop, I'm going to continue to pursue this dream of having, you know, a big YouTube channel, because that was, again, a pretty big dream of mine, even when I was in 6th grade, posting those video game videos as I did for a couple of years afterwards. But it was once that first video got over 100 views that I was like, wow, this feels awesome. I got feedback on my videos. I was used to posting these videos and not getting anyone watch them. But then afterwards, once I kind of started to get feedback on them, shared the video a little bit through Reddit. From there, it just is kind of when I knew that I definitely wanted to go full gear on YouTube.
Do you usually source Reddit for advice, or do you find that is a good route to go to grow your following?
I think at first it definitely is. I was a part of, I think, 4 different drone subreddits, and there's a subreddit out there for anyone looking to join any type of group. There's a subreddit for it, most likely. And I would just drop my link in there to say, hey guys, if you have any sort of feedback to give me, it would be much appreciated. And from there, I grew a following. I grew people that came to my channel, and it kind of came to a point where right now I don't have to do too much sharing. I mean, I kind of will throw stuff out there on my Instagram and Twitter to alert people saying, you know, new video up on the channel if you guys want to go watch it. But now it's kind of one of those things where the people will come to me, as I guess it kind of sounds weird, but at first you kind of have to go approach people, show them what you've got, and then once they like what you've got, they're going to come and see you. And I'm kind of at that point where I just kind of let them come to me.
But I like that you took initiative, and this was my issue as well. You're afraid to show out, so you don't even show up. So a lot of people,
exactly.
That's there's nothing wrong with showing up, especially if you got to speak up and you have to show up. Those are the 2 biggest things that I was not doing in my life.
Not only did the following grow, it was also the criticism I received from people who are more experienced with drones that got me to the point where I am now, because these things are very tough to fly. I mean, even though they're, you know, really user friendly with the nice app and, you know, all the sensors and stuff like that, it's pretty tough to really make use of them.
I say they're easy to fly, but tough to use.
Yeah, it's perfect. I might take that from you.
It's actually very true, right? Because quote me on that, but I'm telling you, because I'll take it out there. People are like, I may be working a job doing some construction site. The guy's like, we were going to go buy one. They're only like, you know, this much money, whatever. They try to basically degrade your business, and you just say, okay, I'm glad I'm here. How can I help you? That humble attitude of, you know, just listening and serving people, helping them how you can, being willing to adapt. To actually use, they are not easy, especially if you're flying in any type of weather, including even sunset, because every 5 feet that you move that drone horizontally, you got to change the shutter or the ISO, whatever that is for each shot. Maybe you're using an ND filter simultaneously, and you got to be like making sure the drone doesn't hit the piece of construction. And you also have to be simultaneously insured. You know, there's a lot of factors going into this than just it hovering by itself. But yeah, I love that you mentioned that. So for anyone listening, right, like a younger person, let's say they're between like 18 and 26, they're like, man, I'm really wanting to jump into YouTube. Everybody's saying to go do it. I'm just too shy. I'm camera shy. How'd you get over your camera shyness?
I actually kind of consider myself to be still camera shy. I tend to try to make videos in public. So for example, to CES, and I was afraid to vlog. I mean, there's a lot of steps that you need to take, but I act as if I'm having a conversation with the camera. It's almost like I'm talking to myself in a mirror, if you will. And I still notice sometimes that when I'm talking to, say, my mom, or if I'm sitting here talking to you, it's going to sound different than when I talk to the camera. And if you go back and you look at some of my first videos, you will definitely see some camera shyness. So that's to be expected from the beginning.
So to do that, you go to Billy Kyle's YouTube channel, then you hit videos, and then you hit the drop down menu that says oldest under videos, and you'll be able to see what he's saying, because he's sharing
some great videos.
You're sharing this openly, so I want people to understand that that's completely fine. And I mean, to be honest, that's all of us. I went to NAB and last March, and just people are so willing to help, especially if you are like, hey, would you like to be on my YouTube channel? And you have a camera and you're vlogging. People, like, they really want to help out. I got to meet Sean Connell out there, which was really cool. Think Media TV. It's great. You know, you meet a lot of other fellow creators and people doing their thing.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you just gotta be willing to put yourself out there.
Yeah, I would say that the way to get over the camera shyness, though, in the end, is to just keep doing it. I think I'm at around 300 videos now, 300 videos talking to the camera. I still consider myself camera shy. I'm definitely different in person than when I'm talking to the camera. But at the end of the day, you're not talking to people like in real life. It's not public speaking. You are going to have to edit that video and watch it at the end. But it's definitely going to be better to edit that video when you're talking normally and not when you're camera shy and timid. Because I know that I would watch some videos back and just be like, oh, what was I doing?
For sure. I understand where you're coming from with that. What are some of your content creation hacks? Do you make 3 videos in one sit down and then just chop up the video file, or how do you go about doing that? Because I know some guys who do a drone podcast and they do 4 or 5 episodes at once, and then they just chop up that single episode, and each one they do a different intro for it. So their podcast is up to like over 500 episodes in less than like 2 years, which is almost ridiculous because it's so many episodes. Yeah. But for videos, I think that's a very good idea. Am I right? You do have to get in the mood to kind of make one. And once you're feeling the vibes and you're like, yeah, I'm ready to make a video about this subject. What are some of your tips there?
I definitely agree about being in the mood, because there's times where I don't feel like shooting a video, and I would rather not upload for a day than upload a video I'm not proud of. And rather than sit down and make multiple videos at once, I will tend to sit down, make one high quality full video that I can. I like to kind of mash as much as I can into one single video, because whenever I go to someone's YouTube channel and I see that they've uploaded 2 videos in a day, while that does look like they're being active, and of course you're providing the people with more content, those videos seem to be of lower quality. So again, I try to focus all of my energy on one day into one video. And I think that if you really want to hack, it would be to not overbook yourself, because there's been days where I've got a week vacation that I'm going to go on, and I want to try to have uploads during then, that I've got to try to grind videos out. And at times, I'm really not proud of those videos. The one thing I am very fond of, though, and I would definitely kind of recommend this to everyone, which I think is a feature you need to unlock through YouTube, is scheduling uploads. So what I do is I tend to make a video, and then I'll schedule that upload for the next day, and it'll come out at usually like around 11 o'clock. I try to shoot for in the morning Eastern time. Then I'll make a video that same day. So I'll have an upload for one day while I'm making a video for the next day. The scheduling of uploads is just so helpful.
That's some great advice. In the Creator Studio, just like you're saying, you can schedule it, you can upload it, have it fully rendered, everything, and select the drop-down menu for it to be private. And then when you're ready to launch that, you can be wherever and just go into your YouTube and drop down menu, make it public so it's there, it's ready to rock. That is a very good tip.
I mean, I've been on the road before and I've gone to upload a video on public Wi-Fi and it says, 3 hours until it's uploaded, and it's a drag having to wait.
Yeah, and even at some airports, they'll tell you, like, if you want to use the Wi-Fi, you're going to have to pay $10 for this many megabits or whatever that is. Yeah. And you're like, what? I really should have done this before. Also, just having the understanding that, people are cool. No, there's probably not anybody sitting there smashing their keyboard with their fist over the fact that you didn't put the video up at the exact moment, especially if you didn't tell them it's going to come out this day. If you do say it's coming out this day, you got to make it happen somehow. But yeah, that's for sure. So Billy, appreciate you sharing that. Is there anything else that you'd want to share with people who are having some trouble showing up? A lot of people will have these awesome hidden talents. They just don't do it in public because they're just embarrassed. They don't want to seem like they're bragging or trying to show off. So I find a lot of people hold back because they're like, well, I may have a lot of knowledge about this subject, but they're afraid or ashamed for some reason to show their moral authority surrounding any given topic that they're an expert on or that they're very intelligent about. What would you share with them to give them a boost of confidence to just go and do it?
So I think that the first step you have to overcome is sharing it with your family. I know that at first my videos I'd share with family, friends, see what they thought, and they were the only ones watching my videos at the time. So I guess this can kind of apply for everything. If you're making music, if you're making videos, from there, go out, share with your family, friends, see what they think. Grab as much criticism as you can from them, because I know that my mom is going to tell me exactly what she thinks. And that's what I love about her. She's going to tell me exactly what she thinks. And once you get all of that info from your family, you should feel confident enough to go out there to the public and share it with people. I know that myself, when I would upload videos, I kind of kept it hush hush, around people at school, just because I kind of felt embarrassed. But then I just kind of thought that I didn't care what other people thought of me. It's kind of something you need to get over, is what other people think of you. And now when I tell people about it, they actually think it's like the coolest thing ever. I think the biggest thing is that you just need to remember that what you're doing is what you love to do. No one out there is going to give you any sort of criticism for doing what you love. And if they do, then they've just got a problem with themselves, because I love making YouTube videos. And if someone were to come to me and make fun of me for it, then they've got a problem with themselves.
Yep. And also, I like what you said there. A lot of people are not willing to go that route, so they just want to knock you down. But just got to keep strong and have thick skin. Not be harsh, but just have thick skin. It doesn't matter. Just let it roll off your back. So One thing is, I will add with that, when you do share it with your family, it's probably the hardest thing to do because it's kind of like that first breakthrough. For me,
it could be, yeah.
Definitely just keep in mind for people what you're sharing with them might not be their taste, or it might not be like what they grew up with or whatever. So just, yes, take as much constructive criticism as you can, but make sure to take it with a grain of salt. Don't be like, all right, they didn't like it, so I'm going to just delete everything and just, I hate this, forget it. Make sure, like, if you have a passion about it, as long as it's a good edifying thing, that you are really staying focused and, like you said, get as much constructive criticism and be willing to hear the stuff that doesn't sound nice. It's not going to go down easy. It stings. It punches your ego in the face, right? Like, be willing to take that stuff. And even if someone like an old cousin or whatever says something that's like really rude, actually listen to what they said, because they may actually have some valid constructive criticism underneath the harsh delivery. So be willing to actually listen to that. For me, initially, I was always like, well, the way they said that was ridiculous, so I'm not even going to take it to consideration. But in fact, like, you might be missing out on some really good, helpful, constructive criticism there.
Yeah, everyone will have something to say, and you can pull some sort of criticism from it. I think that's perfect what you said.
How do you maintain your health and balance while living such a fast-paced life? I mean, I can't imagine, you got school going on. How many credit hours, if I may ask, are you in right now?
So I've got 5 classes, and the way that St. Joe's structures their schedule is that you can choose a class on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's either 50 minutes, or you can choose a class that's on Tuesday, Thursday, which will be an hour and 15 minutes. I think it's an hour 15 or an hour and 10-minute class. So you take 5 classes per semester. And then with those 5 classes, I think that it will eventually come to 40 credits. I think 40 is what it ends up coming to, or somewhere around there. So that's what I'm taking right now.
Yeah, that's quite a load. So how do you maintain your health? And as best you can, how do you balance everything? Is it a juggling act? Do you have days that are you very structured at this point? How does that work for you?
It's sort of a juggling act. And I guess by health, you mean diet and fitness?
Yes, physical health. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't do too much working out. I've tried to kind of whip myself into shape. Of course, everyone around January 1st is trying to make these New Year's resolutions. I tried to run as much as possible, try to, do some lifting and all that stuff as much as possible. But I think at the end of the day, where I get most of my fitness is from my club lacrosse team, just, playing lacrosse because it's doing what I love, but it's also keeping me in shape. I play goalie, which is not the most amount of running. I know. It still gets me outside though. And I do run around with the team. And as a goalie, I actually consider myself to be more mobile. I run the ball up every once in a while. So I do more running than the average goalie per se. But I also try to stay active, whether I go outside and ice skate with my friends, playing pond hockey. I'll try to get together with the boys, when they come back from college during breaks, and we'll play some football, stuff like that. Sometimes we even play airsoft outside, which can be a pretty good workout. I mean, you've got pretty heavy guns and you're running around. So rather than just going and working out to work out, I typically will go and try to do something that's fun, but it's also going to benefit my physical health.
Absolutely. Yeah, me and Billy are both from the same neck of the woods. Neck of the country, let's say. He's from Pennsylvania. I'm from right in between AC and Philly. So I definitely vibe with that. Over Thanksgiving break, we had a big football game. And I had a couple TDs, and now you got me talking about the Eagles again. So here we go. But this is not a sports podcast. Okay, so we'll go. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's for sure. I think that's very important. A lot of people say, yeah, I don't want to get into shape or whatever. It's not about that. Just do something that's fun for you and get out there and enjoy it. That's very good. The distraction there. Like, have an underlying distraction. Like, you're playing a game, but at the end of the game, you're sweating and you're like, oh, this feels great, because you get the endorphin rush and then you're back the next game.
Yeah. It's fun, but you're also getting in shape, of course.
So let's go a little deeper, and you can go as deep as you feel comfortable here, Billy, but I would really like to get into, feel free to share a family story if you're comfortable with that, anything you want. I'd really like to get the guest on, squirming a little bit and thinking about, where does your main motivation come from for hustling to the max of your potential? Because you're not just sitting around. Most people your age, a lot of college kids, are there to party. They're there to waste time. They haven't realized yet how important and short life is and how every minute counts. So where's your motivation coming from? And if you would, just go into that a little bit for the listeners and explain to them your personal story there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, as much as I don't find it to be embarrassing, because I'm kind of used to it by now, and I think that it's kind of more common now than people think. Growing up with divorced parents was definitely tough, kind of, going from house to house, having specific times when I could see my dad, specific times when I could see my mom. And, it was kind of tough having to go back and forth and be on their schedules. Once I got a car, it was a lot easier to go back and forth as I pleased, kind of be where I wanted to. But, I've also seen my mom and my dad go through layoffs for jobs, of course, with bad economy. A lot of layoffs are happening. And, I've seen them in tears because whether it be money's not right, whether they can't provide for me. And by no means did I grow up neglected. I mean, they always showed love. They always gave me what I want. And I definitely grew up a lot better than some of the kids out there, but I still think that seeing them cry and, just seeing them go through the struggles has definitely motivated me to, not only be a better person, but know that in the future, I want to be the best parent that I could, because I grew up a great childhood no matter what. And just learning from them was just perfect. I will credit them everything that I've learned.
Can't thank you enough for sharing that sincerely. Wow. I know there's a lot of listeners who can relate to that very closely. So really appreciate you sharing that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of your motivation and work ethic, coming from that place, that's as a very powerful motivation. And I don't see you stopping ever. Or especially, yeah, for sure. And I really admire that about you, Billy. It's like really exciting to be following your YouTube channel. And of course, that's not like a vlog or a daily life update either. So you have a lot of other stuff going on in your own life, but it's nice to watch your channel evolve. And I can just share with you from watching some of your earlier videos to now, they're both great, super helpful, and they're just getting better and better. So just keep up the great work there. Yeah, for sure.
I will. Thanks.
Let's go into your college a little bit. What are some of your favorite things that you've learned from school so far? It doesn't have to be related to the actual book content. It can just be like life lessons, anything.
One of the biggest things I've learned is to set an alarm.
Or 5.
Yeah, really. And you know what? My roommate gets so mad at me because I'll have so many alarms set, but it's the only way I can wake up. And I can't tell you how many times I've overslept a class or I've overslept a meeting or anything like that. And, while it's all fun and games, missing class, like, oh, haha, it kind of reflects on your own personality. And if you don't meet up with a group, or if, I actually work here on campus too. I work in the IT department, fixing computers and stuff like that. And when you're late to work because you overslept, it's just, shows that you're unprofessional. So I've definitely learned to set an alarm. I've also learned to pretty much cook myself because the food here is pretty terrible. I think that we have Aramark Catering here. And if you're familiar with Aramark, they're a Philly-based company for catering. They do catering for, I think, most prisons around the country. And I think that our food is on the same level of prison food. I can't even lie.
Oh, I understand. I'm not laughing at that situation. I understand. That's great that you're cooking for yourself. Yeah.
It's bad. I mean, it's like the only drawback to the school. I love everything else, but I guess I can take away that I learned how to cook too.
Yeah, well, hey, it's always what can you do about a situation? It's not blaming other things or your school. I like that you took initiative. That's huge. So you're going to be a very successful person. There's no doubt about that at all, for sure. So I usually ask the guests, what would you, if you had like 60 seconds with your 20-year-old, 28-year-old self? Let's do this. Let's say you are 10 years in the future. You're now 30. What do you think you'd want your 30-year-old self to tell today version of yourself?
Okay, so this is definitely an interesting question. So if I was 30 years old and I had to tell my now 20-year-old self something, I think look at who you surround yourself with. And I say that because I think my mom says it as well to me. I know I'm pulling a lot of quotes that my mom says, which she was probably one of the biggest influences in my life. She always says that she can tell who I am and what type of person I am by the person I surround myself with. And I tend to sometimes hang around with the wrong crowd. By no means are these people doing anything terrible, but it's just like people who really don't have a good reflection of myself. And it's kind of like, oh, you hang out with that person. And again, I think that probably look back at myself years old and just say, watch the people that you hang around with, because those people will have a very big influence on what you're like when you're older.
That's awesome. Getting you out of bed in the morning, what's currently exciting you? What are any current projects or videos you're working on right now?
As of right now, the Mavic Air has been released, and I'm looking to get it probably in the next 2 days. It should be shipping here any day. So I'm just getting everything ready. to get set for the Mavic Air to be delivered to my house. I look to make a ton of videos on that, just really cover that drone as much as possible and as thoroughly as possible. And of course, what gets me out of bed every single morning is the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. As I mentioned, I'm going to be driving out there to Minneapolis. I don't have tickets to the game. I think that if I can secure tickets for a good price, I'll try to get into the game. But I've got someone I'm meeting up with out there to tailgate with them. And I'm also looking forward to just kind of look around Minneapolis a little bit. And by then, I will have my Mavic Air, so I'm looking to put that through its paces as I drive halfway across the country.
Fantastic. Yeah, I really look forward to those videos then.
I want to throw this in here real quick. Costco, I believe, is selling the Mavic Pro for $800, and it's the same price as the Mavic Air. And I think the most frequently asked question I've got over the past 2 or 3 days is, should I get the Mavic Pro or the Mavic Air? So that might be something you want to look into. And also listeners out there, the Mavic Pro is going for $800 on Costco as of right now, and it's the same price as the Mavic Air. So it's really leaving a lot of people wondering what they should buy.
Billy, thank you so much for being on the show. Is there any last words of advice you want to share to encourage the listeners?
I think we covered it all, but at the end of the day, you know, I love your show name, Heart Healthy Hustle, and especially the end. It's really all about the hustle. It's all about the late nights. It's about all the work that you dedicate and put into what you love. And if you put in that work, I promise you that at one point in time, you're definitely going to see some sort of results. As I have over all the videos I posted, I got nobody to watch it, and finally now I'm at the point where I at least have some sort of audience. So you're always going to see some sort of, whenever you put your work in, you're always going to see some sort of result come out of it.
What kept you going when no one was seeing them? What did you tell yourself? Did you not care? Did you know that if you kept going, eventually it would work? What kept you going?
I kind of made myself keep going because it was something that I've wanted for so long. Ever since I posted my first YouTube video, I wanted people to actually watch it. And I always had this sort of film oriented side to me. And I think the biggest thing that really kept me going was proving my mom wrong, because she always said that I shouldn't get a drone and that it would be wasting my money. And I just wanted to prove her wrong. And now it's kind of funny because I brought her to CES with me and we both went around to the Consumer Electronics Show. And I told her, I said, if I didn't buy that first drone, we wouldn't be here now. So it's just something funny to look back on.
That's awesome, Billy. She must be super proud of you, man. I have no doubt about that.
Thank you.
I hope you guys had a great time at CES too. That's a cool show. Did you have a good time out there?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Seeing all that new technology that, some of it may not actually hit the stores, but being able to actually see it with my own eyes and not through videos of other people, it was just a totally different experience.
That's awesome.
And I can't wait for next year.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Can't thank you enough for being on the show and sharing what you shared with the listeners.
It's been a ton of fun.
Thank you for listening to the Heart Healthy Hustle podcast. If you made it to the end of this episode, I want to say thank you. And also, I want you to ask yourself why. What about this episode really stood out to you? I want to challenge you to take action on that thing. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd really appreciate your time and consideration to go ahead and leave a helpful review in iTunes. So it really helps the podcast grow and we can impact even more people who need this. Thank you guys for all of your support, and I will see you in the next episode.